Hi all, it's Holly Duncan here, and I'm on the homepage of Edulastic. This is an educational assessment maker. It links to Common Core state standards, which is great for gathering your data for those of you in Common Core school districts or states. So this version is free. North Penn does have a subscription to it, but everything I'm showing you is off of the free version. I'm actually logged in down here as my husband because I'm in my role not making a lot of assessments. And honestly, we're going to look at a test that his co-teacher had made. So here's the dashboard. You can manage classes with the Manage Class button up here, create a class where you can hand input everything. Or you can sync with your Google Classrooms for those of you who are in districts that have Google Classrooms. This will input all of your student data, which is important because as students complete assessments, Edulastic does generate reports linking how they do on questions that are tagged with various Common Core standards and showing you trends such as how many they got correct, what they're still working on, and what they definitely need work on. So as you can see from their carousel over here, here are what the different reports look like: real-time data, growth and standards mastery, holistic student views for parents, and customized performance balances. So these are great things to meet with your students about and discuss, and you can show them to your parents. And like I said, you have that link to Common Core standards, so that's super helpful. Next, we're going to look at assignments. This is the demo class that Edulastic has loaded in, and it shows you that they've put 3 tests or assignments in the class. You can set it for when the students need to complete them, put them on the calendar. You can look at them in list form. Here's your imaginary class, how many questions the students have answered, what their score would be out of that if they were absent for the assessment. And so that one's currently in grading. This one is done. So let's open up the responses, and you can see it will show you here are all of the questions answered. The student only got 1 wrong. Here's the quick view of it. We can open up view responses and see your test question, if it was correct or marked incorrect. You can also sort by correct answers, incorrect answers, if the students skipped anything, and it does give the students options to go back, and we'll tell them if they've missed work, and then partially correct answers if they haven't completely graded things, or there's the option to create some test questions that have multiple correct answers to them. So let's look at how you create a test question. You'd go over here to Question Bank, and you have a couple of options. You're able to sort by grade. So let's say we're looking for 2nd grade Common Core Math. We're going to select a standard. I'm going to click the boxes here, and we are going to just look at geometry, all of the geometry questions. So here are the standards that they're linked to. This shape has how many sides. Here are questions I can answer, true or false, what's shown. So I can click on these and just create an assessment straight out of questions that have already been banked. So there you go. I have the option of adding my own questions here. I can save it as a draft, or I can view what the students would view from this quiz. So you see it's loading itself, and true or false, 2/3 is shaded. I'm going to say that is false. We're going to hit next and move on. This shape has, and here's the calculator added in, 6 sides. Move on and say next. How many faces does this figure have? I believe 6. And finally, select all of the pictures that show an object divided into equal parts. All right, next. And how much of the figure is marked in blue? 1, oh. So it gives you the option to input fractions as well. We're going to hit submit and we're going to review my answers. Okay, so I went back and I said, okay, you know, I feel like that's correct. That's correct. That's correct. That's correct. Great job. And we're going to submit that. And I scored 4.5 out of 5. And number 4, I'm going to open that up. Oh, I got that partially correct. I could have clicked C as well. And here is the solution. So the author of the question is telling you these pictures show equal parts and these pictures do not. So let's do our own question so you can see where you would put that solution in. So great, I would hit publish or assign, but we're not actually going to assign this to anybody. So I'm going to go back to search and filter, and you can see I was pretending like I was making a farm animal test. And I'm going to author a new question. So we click author new question, and you have a couple of choices here. You have the multiple choice. You would fill in your multiple choice question and your answer. You would click on the button to indicate to the computer that this is the correct answer. Obviously, I haven't put anything in here, but if you fill it out, this would light up and you would save your changes. Next type of question you can do is multiple selection. You would use this one like radial buttons where you have more than one correct answer. So you would enter your question text and then your answer choices, click as many correct answers as there are, and then save them. Next, you can do the text drop down. So your question would go here. And then you would enter your values over here and click the correct answer and then hit save. I don't know why it's telling me I have unsaved changes, but that's all right. You can also tag these questions. Here's where you would enter that solution text for the answer portion that I showed you earlier. And so that's the drop-down questions, author a new question. Essay type would be where you're having students do free responses. Those need to be hand graded. Everything else on Edulastic can be graded by the computer, so it's really good for homework checks and other quick assessments. And also prepping for large tests and assessments, and can be used for large tests and assessments. And then finally, you have the true-false question, which I think is pretty explanatory. So I'm going to go back over here to the assessment library. I'm going to close out my filters. And I'm going to go to close out math. Sorry about that. Go out to a friend of mine, apply filter. And here are all of the tests for my husband's 9th grade science class. So we're going to do the Chapter 6, Unit 19 vocabulary. We're going to preview it. You would assign it to a class, but we're just going to preview. It is a 4-question quiz. We have matching over here. So I'm actually just going to drag and drop. Oh, this is one of the ones where you have to move them. Okay, there we go, drag and drop. So you'll see I left some out on the first question. I left some blank. I have one more question to do. and I'm going to hit OK. I want to submit this. I have the option to review my answers and go back in and look at how many I got wrong. At this point, I should probably check my work if I was a student. I can also flag it for myself to be like, oh, I need to come back to this. So this is just taking me through the test again. You'll see I did not score very well. Okay, I want to submit it. Are you sure you want to submit it? Yes, I want to submit it. And here we go. I got all 4 questions, all of question 4 incorrect, and questions 1, 2, and 3 partially incorrect. Not bad. I'm going to hit continue, and here it's going to go through what the correct answers are. I randomly selected suspension as correct. Here are the standards that it's linked to, and you can flip through all of the questions like that. Again, on the teacher page in your classroom, it will show you how your class is scored, what they got right, what they got wrong. I like that really quick view that I showed you at first. Let me go back to the demo classroom. So this quick view per student, and here's the quick classroom view that can show you how well students did per question. So here you go. This class did really well on question 11, 12, 13, and question 8, everybody seemed to have bombed on. So you have some idea of, let me go back and review, is this the test question or not? Or is this something that I didn't teach well enough and something I need to review in the class? So there is an overview of Edulastic and how to create tests through Edulastic. For the ISTE standards, I feel like this hits so many. Obviously, learner set professional learning goals, pursue professional interest by creating and actively participating in learning networks because you have those banks of questions. 5B, you're designing things, authentic learning activities that are aligning with your content standards. You hit analyst with the data-driven reports. So 7A and 7B are definitely part of Edulastic as again. So for a free website, I think it's super incredible. Definitely use those standards. It's something I would play around with, no matter what your content area is. And thank you very much.